I know it sounds crazy, but I'm actually going to give the Cardinals a fighting chance to beat the Green Bay Packers this weekend. Why? Let's talk about it next.
The Ben Garcia Show. Yeah. Best show in the land. Yup. Listen. Come and get your information from Ben Garcia. Get the latest on your quarterback, running backs, and receivers. Tune in, so any other show you don't need them. Any news that he giving out, please just believe him. Giving out the latest prediction and top-notch analysis. Wanna hear the truth, better have thick skin like callus. The latest move that your team just made can be damaging. The dudes ain't speaking no facts, they just be rambling. Lights, camera, action, turn on the show. Go get the cameraman. Yeah. Lights, camera, action, turn on the show. Go get the cameraman. The Ben Garcia Show.
What is up? Welcome in to the Ben Garcia Show. There's a lot of things we got to get into, guys. There's a lot of things. It's a jam-packed show on a Friday. And listen, we got the Jacoby Brissett stuff. We got the Cardinals going up against Green Bay Packers things. There is a numerous amount of things that we need to get into. As look at me, I'm even running behind, having to mess with things on my phone here for a brief second. But with that being said, guys, before we get started, follow me on all social media platforms at Ben Garcia Show. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe to the show, and let's dive right into it. For my guy, Brendan Dorsett, and my guy, Edgar Ortiz, the first two in the chat this morning, it is so good to see you guys, and thank you for continuously making the Ben Garcia Show a part of your day. There's a lot of things I want to get into. There's a lot of things I want to get into on this edition of the Ben Garcia Show. So let's start here. Let's first start with the Kyler Murray controversy that kind of stemmed from Andrew Whitworth the other day, talking about Kyler Murray's leadership. I'm not sure if you guys saw the clip. I can't play the clip in its entirety. It'll copyright this video. The video will get taken down, so I don't want to do that to you guys. If you haven't checked it out, go on social media, check it out. Andrew Whitworth talking about Kyler Murray's leadership and kind of pointing out some of the things that Kyler has done wrong over the last couple of years. And I think oftentimes people are quick to just kind of push these things away, and then you just kind of let it breathe for a little bit. And you say to yourself, if someone like Andrew Whitworth is coming after Kyler Murray, it's definitely worth talking about. And Andrew Whitworth said the other day that he's not bagging on Kyler Murray as a football player. He's bagging on him as a leader. And he cited the Amari DiMercato fumble that was supposed to be a touchdown and kind of mentioned, well, why is Amari DiMercato being consoled by Paris Johnson Jr.? Where is Kyler Murray in that scenario? Jonathan Gannon's about to chew him out. Where is he at? Nowhere to be found. And I think it's interesting because fans of the Arizona Cardinals, who are strong defenders of Kyler Murray, will push these kind of things to the side because Marvin Harrison Jr. once said something in a pre-camp interview with NFL Network saying how great of a leader Kyler Murray is. We don't see people going after Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Tom Brady, Lamar Jackson, Peyton Manning, Ben Roethlisberger's leadership. We never see that. And when people criticize the leadership of Allen, a Baker Mayfield, a Mahomes, a Lamar, we just kind of scoff at those people and don't take their opinion very seriously. How many times do former players of the Arizona Cardinals or players as a whole need to come after Kyler Murray's leadership before we start taking it more seriously? So the first thing that I will start with is, remember a couple of years ago when Patrick Peterson said Kyler Murray don't care about nobody but Kyler Murray? Now, Patrick Mahomes was a scorned girlfriend. He was upset with the Arizona Cardinals, but he took a shot at Kyler. Bryce Butler, who was with the Arizona Cardinals for a brief spell, to be fair, wasn't very long, also went after Kyler Murray. Kelvin Beachum went after Kyler Murray in an Arizona sports interview last year. And now Andrew Whitworth, a future Hall of Famer who played in the NFC West, who knows Kyler Murray very well from a player standpoint. They prepped against him. He understood his tendencies. He's not calling out the talent of Kyler. He's saying, actually, Kyler Murray isn't, an elite level talent. He continues to go after Kyler Murray's leadership. And why is that? Because Andrew Whitworth has played with real leaders. Jared Goff, no one questions his leadership. Matthew Stafford, no one questions his leadership. Whitworth knows what leadership looks like. And he sees the tendencies of Kyler from afar. And if you don't think he hasn't talked to former players, then that's a you issue. If you're not going to take it seriously, that's fine. You can go bird box on me and put on the blinders. I will not discount a future Hall of Famer who played in the NFC West, who probably knows a lot of people that played on the Cardinals, has had private conversations about Kyler Murray and his leadership. And if you don't think that didn't go into his judgment and assessment of Kyler Murray, what in the world are we doing here? What assessment will you take seriously? If you're the type of fan, person, whatever, that only takes seriously the praise of Kyler Murray from, I think it was like Michael Carter earlier in the year, or Marvin Harrison Jr., then go for it. I'm not going to live in sunshine and rainbows land because this team is falling short of expectations again. And Kyler Murray has just been fine this year. He has not been elite. He's been at times good enough to win, and that's about as good as it's been. Being a leader matters in the NFL. I don't know if Jacoby Brissett's a leader. I don't know. But what I will say is he does things that makes players want to fight for him. And for everyone in the comment section, guys, at the end of the show, I'll take some of your guys' questions the last 5-10 minutes of the show. So I apologize. But because I got a show to do, I'm not paying attention to the comment section as much, but I appreciate you guys being here. But I will take your questions at the end of the show. Thank you for being here. I think people need to take more seriously the criticisms of Andrew Whitworth. This is not some random offensive lineman. This isn't even Kelvin Beachum. This is the guy who's got sources. He knows people that played with him, planned against Kyler Murray. And Andrew Whitworth, I think his comments were pretty damning. And in the NFL, you need to be a leader. And as mentioned before, I don't know if Jacoby Brissett does the leadership things. What I do know is he does things on the field in one game that Kyler Murray does not do. Kyler Murray does not hang in the pocket and throw balls downfield or hold onto the ball a split second too long, take a shot, but finds a guy downfield. Kyler oftentimes shies away from contact. He will give up on a sack quickly. It's not protecting yourself if it happens all the time. Kyler Murray oftentimes commits intentional grounding penalties to shy away from a big hit. Numerous times last week, I saw Jacoby Brissett go parallel to the ground, about to fall flat on his face, find someone. Take a shot to the chest, but hold on to the ball just a little bit longer and find someone downfield. Kyler doesn't do those things that make players want to run through a wall. Listen, you can talk to the conversations you've had with your buddy at the bar. I have talked with people before who have told me they don't know if Kyler Murray is the type of player people want to play for. They want to play hard for. And so when these comments come out, I think that they're damning. And I think it's the first time where all the other ones I kind of shoot off. But Andrew Whitworth is a very respected offensive lineman. He's got a very good life for himself. I don't think this is him trying to buy clicks and likes on social media. Also, the people that say that, like, come on, guys. You got to do this more consistently if, it's just for a likes thing. It's the first time seeing Andrew Whitworth do something like this. And I thought it was very damning of Kyler. I thought it was very damning. And I think even more damning and frustrating was the continuous outpour of, no, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. I do, because I watched the games. Not the guy that played against Kyler, not the guy that's, been around the NFC West. You know better. And I think that's just a pride thing. Because I'm, open enough to admit I don't know as well as Andrew Whitworth would. I don't know as well as some of the people that I've talked to would. No one has questioned Kyler Murray's talent here. We know how gifted he is. But talent, as mentioned on Monday, only goes so far. Kyler's tangibles, pretty good. Now he needs to be more consistent, and I'm not sure he fits in this offense. His intangibles have always needed work. And yes, he's been more of a leader. He's been more mature. But my question is, has it been enough? Has it been enough? And if you're someone that thinks it has been, I just don't believe you. I just don't believe you even think that. And so I thought Whitworth's comments were very damning a couple of days ago, and I thought it was worth mentioning. Now let's move on to the Arizona Cardinals Green Bay Packers preview. So Jacoby Brissett is likely in line to start this game. And one of the reasons why Jacoby Brissett needs to play is because we need to know if it's a mirage. We need to know if this is the real thing. We need to know if Kyler Murray truly could be the problem in the offense. The Cardinals season is quickly spiraling out of control. If they win this game, the playoffs still feel like a real uphill battle. But I'll make a case for that in a little bit later. The most important thing for this season was never playoffs, was never getting in there. I don't think that they're going to fire anyone on this staff. I think they'll eventually let go of Drew Petzing, but that's because his contract runs out. This season was all about finding out if Kyler Murray is the guy. And I've defended him at times. I've went after him a lot. I've got the blocks on social media to prove it. I think so far, you're learning Kyler Murray isn't the guy. And the next step of that is, let's just see what Jacoby Brissett has. I want to see what Jacoby Brissett has. And if Jacoby goes out there and spins it again and has 280 passing yards, 275 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, an interception, but he looks very competent, and he's throwing the ball down the middle of the field and finding guys open and taking shots that we haven't seen all season long, the conversation is going to quickly turn into, oh, maybe it wasn't a Drew Petzing problem. Maybe it was a Kyler Murray problem. And that's not a bad place to be. Maybe Kyler Murray works elsewhere. Maybe. I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I know the future. I think on some other teams he could be more serviceable. But I think Kyler Murray has some tangible qualities to him that are just going to be too hard to overcome. One being that he's 5'9". And that might just be too hard to overcome. We got to see what Jacoby Brissett does this weekend. We don't have any strong points or indicators that Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to play this weekend. He has practice all week, but we'll see what that looks like today. You know, he had a concussion. I think it's like his, guys, quietly, I think that's Marvin Harrison Jr.'s like 3rd or 4th concussion in the last 4 years. So something to keep an eye on, by the way, when it comes to Marvin Harrison Jr.'s. So I'm just saying we got to figure out what we have in Jacoby. We got to figure out what that offense is going to look like. And if he goes in there on Sunday and beats a Packers team who feels like a Super Bowl contender, like we're going to have uncomfortable conversations about the quarterback, Kyler Murray. We're going to have uncomfortable conversations about Jacoby Brissett starting the rest of the year. Can you imagine what would happen if the Cardinals won on Sunday? Kyler Murray's not the starter anymore. He shouldn't be. I'm not saying he will be. I think the Cardinals will still make him the starter because they're too scared to bench him. But if Jacoby Brissett duplicates another game this weekend that he had last weekend, he should be the starter until you ride the hot hand until he's not the hot hand anymore. And could you imagine what the conversations would be? You would be talking about, well, heck, should the Cardinals just trade Kyler Murray at the deadline? Now, I don't think anyone would do that. It's a massive cap hit, and who knows what his market is right now. But seriously, what you see from Jacoby Brissett, if he duplicates that again and the Cardinals win, we're talking about something insane. Now let's move over to keys to this game, what it's going to look like. The first thing I'm looking at in this game, how the heck are the Arizona Cardinals going to keep the Green Bay Packers pass rush at bay? Rashawn Gary and Micah Parsons are both going to be all over the Arizona Cardinals. This is going to be all right, Drew, let's see how you dial up some protections without still being aggressive like the team was last week. I got no issues with Paris Johnson Jr. on the left side of the ball. He is one of the best left tackles in the NFL. It's one of Monty Austinfort's saving graces, the drafting of Paris Johnson Jr. Whoever lines up with him, Rashawn Gary, Micah Parsons, I feel very comfortable about Paris Johnson Jr. holding his own while sending a chip or two his way. The right side in Jonah Williams, which again, by the way, guys, mentioned this on the show months before it happened. Hey, Jonah Williams, why are we bringing that back out again? Whoever's got Jonah Williams on the other side of the ball is going to get cooked or is going to cook. You got to bring chips, slide your protection over because, I mean, seriously, man, you cannot have Micah Parsons wreck this game. One of the things that makes good head coaches, great head coaches, is being able to take out the opposing team's best player. This was something Bill Belichick was amazing at for years. He would take your best weapon, rip him out of the game. Jonathan Gannon and Drew Petzing need to collectively put their heads together and find a way to take Micah Parsons out of this game. Micah cannot be a game wrecker. If he is, that's an indictment on the coaching staff. He might get his. He might get a sack. But we cannot be consistently hearing the name from pressures and sacks and forced fumbles by Micah Parsons from the announcers. We can't hear that. So that's another thing as well as concerning. Here's what's interesting, though. The Green Bay Packers do feel like a Super Bowl contender, but I don't necessarily know why. I like their players. I think they've got really strong players, but they're lacking like the A+ superstar talent. I think Jordan Love is still at the B+ mark until we see him win a playoff game. He wins a playoff game, we'll move him over to A-A. And I think he'll probably do that this year. But the wide receivers, like Matthew Golden is still young. Christian Watson, I'm not even sure he's going to play in this game. I know he was activated from IR, but we'll see. Romeo Doubs, Dontavian Wicks. The only player receiving the ball wise that the Arizona Cardinals need to zero in on that they got beat on a lot of last week is the tight end position in Tucker Kraft. Tyler Warren ate their lunch last week. Tucker Kraft cannot do the same thing. That is a Jonathan Gannon strict assignment. And with the Cardinals on the offensive side of the ball, this Packers defense, I know it's got a strong front seven, but at the cornerback spot, they don't get showstoppers. Russell Douglas isn't there anymore. Jair Alexander is not there anymore. They've got the kid from the Giants, whose name I forget, who led the league in interceptions last year, from Alabama. Golly, what's that kid's name? Whatever. Regardless, doesn't really matter. Safety. He's a ball hawking guy, but the rest of their secondary isn't elite. This is still an air it out game. 45 passes for Jacoby Brissett this weekend. 40 passes for Jacoby Brissett this weekend. Oftentimes, that's not a recipe to win. But you got to play to your strengths here. Trey McBride will eat the lunch of whatever linebacker is going up against him. Whatever slot corner. Marvin Harrison Jr. should feast if he plays this weekend. Michael Wilson continues to show strong signs of being a wide receiver too. And here's where it's going to get interesting, guys, with the 13 people in the chat this morning. And just so you guys know, at the end of the show, I'll get to you guys' comments, questions, concerns at the end of the show. Here's the other thing. I've listed all the reasons why the Cardinals shouldn't win. But I've been watching the Cardinals for more or less 2 decades now. This is just a game the Arizona Cardinals win. I used the analogy yesterday on the Cardinals Squad show. The Cardinals are like the cockroach that you squash, walk away from for a second, you think it's dead, and it's kind of twitching its leg at the end. I actually believe the Cardinals win this game this weekend. Because, and it's not me saying the Cardinals are going back to playoff contenders, or, they're a team that can, turn the season around. Call it watching the games for a really long time. This just feels like a game where the Arizona Cardinals win. I know it doesn't make any sense. And I agree that I sound stupid. But with their back against the wall, at home, there'll probably be a lot of Lambeau fans. Jacoby Brissett, I think, duplicates something relative from last week. Marvin Harrison Jr. has a big game. Trey McBride has a big game. And you speed up the clock of Jordan Love, who will give you an interception from time to time. A team in the Green Bay Packers that outside of the last 2 meetings, the Cardinals have a pretty good history with. I think this is going to be a high-scoring affair. I think it's going to be a 27-24 win for the Arizona Cardinals. And we talk about the season being saved for now. They right the ship. They go into the bye week. They gear up for Dallas, who they play really well against. But this is nothing to do with schematics, X's and O's. Call it a gut feeling. Call it watching this team for a really long time. And I know it's crazy. I know it's insane. I know if we list the top 10 players in this game, the Packers might have 7 of them. But call it a hunch. I'll take the Cardinals to win this game 27-24 off of not a ton of analytical thoughts and opinions, just watching the tendency of this team for a really long time. Okay. Let's move over to ASU really quickly. So Sam Leavitt's going to play this weekend. And I think that gives ASU much more than a fighting chance to beat Texas Tech this weekend. And I think ASU has an opportunity to prove something this weekend. Firmly plant the flag of, hey, no. You're the new guy here. Since this thing is expanded, we're the Big 12 champs, not you. Texas Tech is doing something that teams that haven't won yet shouldn't be doing, and that is being the hunted. ASU goes into this game with no pressure. Now there's pressure within the valley. We need to see ASU get back to the playoff, take that next step of being not just a competent organization, but that next step of consistent playoff threat. There's steps that you have to take in these fields. There's steps you have to take to transform a program. And I think this is a transformational game for ASU. And what do I mean by that? Well, I think with ASU, it's interesting. This is a team that for the first time has had real success. Not like a fluke season. Like last year, you saw it. It was tangible. They were winning games their way. This is a chance for ASU to walk into this game on Sunday. This is a chance for ASU to walk into this game on Saturday and remind Texas Tech who they are. Yeah, you've got all the oil money. You've got all the oil money. You've got all the new recruits. You've got all the shiny new toys. But you step into Tempe on our turf in a game that's a must-win for us with a team that I believe has the better head coach and quarterback combination, and I don't think it's super close. And I think with a defense that last week was playing in a hurricane, couldn't catch their footing, guys were slippery, Utah ran the ball super effectively, everyone gets a game. I expect the ASU defense to force timely turnovers this week. I expect them to make it tougher on Texas Tech. Now, Texas Tech is going to get theirs. That's a firecracker offense. And for people telling me, well, Texas Tech smacked around Utah last weekend. I'm sorry. Texas Tech smacked around, Utah a couple of weeks ago. And ASU got smacked around by Utah. That's not how football works. And that's not how football works. The Cincinnati Bengals were a shell of themselves last night. And then they dropped 33 points on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Football is weird. And you'll say to yourself, well, the Bengals had a different quarterback. Well, guess what? ASU also had a different quarterback. Jeff Sims ain't starting this week. Sam Leavitt is. And I think it's something to prove for everyone for ASU. From a Sam Leavitt perspective, you show how important you are if you win this game. If last week ASU looks like a community college program without you, and this week they look like one of the best teams in the country with you, what does that say about you, your draft stock, your play on the field, and your leadership? What does that say? Sam Leavitt could go from being a second-round pick to an early first-round pick with a win on Saturday. That's something massive to prove. That's a big pay raise. And I had a bunch of Texas Tech fans in my comment section, which was so strange. I mean, it shows a real insecurity from Texas Tech fans, which I thought was interesting. Anytime, I mentioned ASU's got no chance to win this game without Sam Leavitt, and I totally, buy that. And I had, Texas Tech fans, they couldn't beat him with Sam Leavitt. Okay, man. Okay. I don't do the fandom thing anymore. I cover the teams. I don't need to show biases. I never do. Well, I guess we all show some biases, but for the large part, the show, I think, does a pretty good job at showing unbiased. Let's see what it looks like. And so Sam Leavitt, the key for him is he's got to be mobile. We cannot make Sam Leavitt a one-dimensional player. If Sam Leavitt's ankle injury is truly that bad, or maybe just precautionary last week, I still think ASU has a tough time winning this game. But Sam Leavitt has unlocked a new wrinkle to his game, and that is running the football. That is getting out in finding rushing lanes. That is scampering for touchdowns. That cannot go away. That cannot go away for Sam Leavitt. And so if the team is going to win this weekend, it's going to be based on the legs of Sam Leavitt while also throwing some timely dots. And he's got to take care of the football. This Texas Tech defense is freaking good. It's ferocious. It's kind of like ASU's defense, but a little bit better, meaning they force timely turnovers. Don't put the ball in harm's way. Big game from Jordan Tyson. This might be the biggest game in Kenny Dillingham's tenure so far. Because it's a crossroads. It's not a if ASU wins or loses this game, Kenny Dillingham's not getting fired. But it's a crossroads game. Even if you lose, close, I won't kill them for it. But I will kill the trajectory of the program, or at least go after the trajectory of the program if they get smacked in this game. You're at home. You have your starting quarterback. Everyone's got injuries. Don't tell me you got injuries. This game needs to be competitive, or ASU needs to come out and win. And I think with timely defense from the defensive side of the ball, from guys like, I guess Xavier Alford's not going to play, but from this defense making timely turnovers, like they did against TCU, like they did against Baylor, and the offensive side of the ball needs to reward those. Points off turnovers are going to be at a premium. And so call me crazy. Do it. And if Texas Tech fans find this too, whatever. But I think ASU wins this game. I'm going to take the stability of Sam Leavitt and Kenny Dillingham over Texas Tech's microwave success. Maybe Texas Tech is a really good program. Maybe they're finally going to propel themselves into the top 4 and the best team in Texas potentially. But I'll believe it when I see it. I think money can only buy so much. Can it buy a good scheme? I don't know. I think ASU's got the better coach. I think ASU's got the better quarterback. So at the two most important spots, ASU's got the better thing. Everything else we could argue. Well, I guess ASU's got the better wide receiver too. But everything else we could argue. At the wide receiver, quarterback, head coach position, ASU clears Texas Tech in all three. Can the defense force a timely turnover? Can Raleek Brown get going? And if they do, they'll beat Texas Tech. And I'll take them to do that. I'll take them to beat Texas Tech. Let's call it 31-27. All right, guys. Here's the part in the show where I take the last 5 minutes, look at the comment section, take a look at your guys' questions, and let's answer a couple of them. First off, my guy Brendan in the chat. Good morning, Ben. What's up, man? Good to see you. Edgar, I just pray we go up from here. You and me, brother. You and me. Like maybe you from the perspective like you just want to see your team win. For me, it's like if the team doesn't play well, people check out. So like I'm rooting for that too. Not going against fourth string corners this week. Defense gonna have to win this game. I mean, they should. They should. Animal TV, the cameras weren't watching the silent the entire time. Don't like Kyler all you want, but this is a silly argument. No, it's not a silly argument. How many players have to come out and go after attack Kyler Murray's leadership before you believe them over people on social media who tell you that they're wrong? So I love that you're here, Animal. Thanks for being here, but couldn't disagree more. Can't wait till we get a new quarterback. It's been due already. We'll see. We'll see if the quarterback's the problem. I'm not going to sit here and condemn Kyler for everything. Smack the like, please. Thank you. No one cares what Pat Pete says. Whoa. Patrick Peterson's going to be a Ring of Honor member. He's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. I agree that he was kind of acting a little bit like a scorned girlfriend, but I care what Patrick Peterson says. Also, I've never heard anything from Christian Kirk and James Conner. That's interesting. Butler never played on the same team as Kyler. That is true. Bryce Butler did never play on the team as Kyler, but it doesn't mean he doesn't know people that played on that team with Kyler. Kyler has issues, but these are stupid arguments from people. I disagree. I just disagree. As a Cardinal fan, we expected so much this season. Year 7 bleep would be different when we were really good. Kyler even said things are going to think that is true. Kyler did say things are going to be different. We need a case study on how a player goes undefeated in Texas high school football, wins Heisman, and then can't lead a pro level offense without a single negative off the field incident. Kyler starts in Dallas without a doubt. Yeah, he probably plays in Dallas no matter what. Ooh, look in these. This has the Josh Rosen game written all over it. Dude, Ivan, circa, what was it, 2014, 2018, when the Cardinals went into Lambeau with Josh Rosen and retired, Mike McCarthy in the Packers. That's a good one, man. Good pull. What else we got in here? Oof, Zach, I just saw this first, but I would love Sam Leavitt in the second round. Ben, congrats on the new house. Dude, thanks, man. Baby girl on the way in February. This dynamic is going to change, I believe, on Sunday. Everything is going to be here. So this is actually the last show where this background will be here. I guess I should have mentioned that. What else do we have in here? Anything else? I don't see any questions. Just a lot of statements. All right. That's it. Patrick could block his wife. Didn't allow him to punt return. Too dangerous. I don't even know what that means, but thank you for being here. Back to Constitution. All right. I will be here on Monday recapping this game with all of you. For Zach, back to Constitution. Saul, Robert, Chill Peasy, my guy Chill Peasy, Animal TV, Edgar, Zach. I'm sure Michael Evans is in here too. He's always in here. He is in here. Nico and Brandon and Edgar and Robert. Appreciate all you guys being here. Thanks for tuning in to the Ben Garcia Show. I'll be here on Monday at 7 a.m. to recap the game, give you my own filtered thoughts and opinions like always. But this will look different. New house coming up, and it's all because of you guys. Thank you. Stay safe. Talk to you guys on Monday. Have a heck of a Friday.